Ever since you were a child, you must have heard about witches. Unlike humans, witches are said to have magical powers, allowing them to do things that a normal human cannot. Witches are so common that they are found in almost all religions and folklore. It doesn't matter which corner of the world you're from, you must have heard about witches. Well, at least once in your life. Witches have become a part of our life, and it doesn't matter if they're real or not, as they have been a part of human history for thousands of years. You can find witches in Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Judaism, and so on. The word witch comes from the Old English word Wicca. They are also called by various other names in different languages. For example, they are called bruxa in Portuguese, bruja in Filipino, bruja in Spanish, dayaan in Hindi, norn in Icelandic, hex in German, and so on. There are still a lot of other names they go by, but who exactly are witches? Well, in simple words, witches are beings who possess supernatural powers, or you can say magic. Only females become witches by practicing witchcraft. As for the males who practice witchcraft, they become warlocks. Since witches are said to have magical powers, they can do a lot of things which are impossible for a human. They can use it for good and can even use it for evil stuff. So there are basically two types of witches. Good witches who believe in live and let live. Then there are evil witches who will do anything for their personal gains, even if it means hurting someone. Some witches are even said to offer human sacrifices to gain more powers. Different types of witches have different types of magical powers, and some are more powerful than others. Witches have been around since the beginning of time, or at least since the beginning of religion. They can be traced back to ancient goddesses like Hecate and Diana, and even to Eve, the first woman. So it's quite difficult to trace the exact time when the witches came into existence, but ever since their arrival, they were continuously being mentioned in history and people just couldn't stop talking about them. Since the ancient world was already connected via ancient trade routes, the story of witches must have traveled from one place to another. But it's quite difficult to know where exactly the story originated. Witches may have originated in ancient India, ancient Africa, or maybe even in ancient Europe. At first, witches were worshipped as deities who possessed supernatural powers. Over time, as their story spread around the world, people started linking them with their own local beliefs and folklore. Because of this, now you will find several variations of witches in the world. Eventually, witches become a part of the human lifestyle in the ancient world. Some even began worshipping them to receive gifts in return, but everything changed for them in the medieval world. As the world transitioned away from believing in magic and the supernatural to fearing them, the people began to fear witches. I mean, just think about it. A world dominated by men who thought that everything revolved around them. Such men would never accept a woman with magical powers amongst them, knowing that they can snatch away their power and even their life just like that. So in the medieval era, people began hunting witches and executed them. In Europe, witches were tortured, hanged, and even burned alive. This era was so cruel to women that even a woman suspected of practicing witchcraft was executed without mercy. Thousands of women lost their lives because a few powerful men were scared of their abilities and powers. In the end, witches were considered a threat to society and the public. People, including women, were happy to see them persecuted. And this case wasn't in Europe only. Women were killed in every corner of the world on suspicion of practicing witchcraft. It didn't take much time for witches to go from being worshipped as deities to being hunted by the very same men. This is also one of the major reasons why witches became so popular in the world. but not for the good reasons. In fact, the witch hunt is still practiced in many parts of the world, and innocent women still lose their life because of this. Now, everywhere in the world, witches are seen as someone evil, who only use their powers to do evil things. There are hundreds of stories by people from around the world who claim to have seen a witch. Some say that they have heard witches calling to them from the woods, while some claim to have seen them living in their hut all alone in the forest. But most of these stories mention witches living in the woods or small villages, so it's very unlikely that you will ever encounter a witch in your life, unless of course you live near a forest. But despite so many stories about witches, there is no substantial evidence to prove their existence. So most probably, witches are not real, and they don't exist in this world. Or maybe that's exactly what the witches want you to believe. Who knows, right? And so this was it for today's video. Let me know what you think. Are witches real, or are they just a product of our wonderful imagination? Please give this video a thumbs up, and do subscribe for more interesting videos on history and mythology.